Greetings. So, this current Texas abortion issue, I find this rather interesting for the irony of the situation. Anyhow, this is OTR Ogre and Corgi. Let's get into it. Okay, so tactically I could see the situation where the argument's made, hey, if a woman, gets pregnant and then has to have an abortion to prevent, having a child, in a bad situation, like she's too poor to afford it, that's a serious issue. I'm like, I do agree with that. That kind of makes sense. I mean, I still consider it a form of murder, but I am pro-choice. I'm like, you can't sit there and tell me you didn't kill somebody. I mean, if time was allowed to mature and things happen, that baby would have been born. And you might argue this is why in the past we saw more orphanages and children that were just fucking, left for dead. Because, before there was abortion, there was bitches doing dirty deeds. So, this is a cleaner way of doing things. But still, I look at the whole Texas abortion issue, and I'm like, you'd think the way some of these women are reacting, they're acting like, oh my God, they've taken away every right to contraceptives and everything. No, they haven't. Like, even if you were struggle snuggled, that situation, you're basically, down some morning after pills, for the love of God, if that's, something like that happened. But maybe this is just the fact that, like, a lot of situations, there's women that have used abortion as a contraceptive just because they don't like the way contraceptives make them feel. Well, then you think to yourself, well, if you don't like the way contraceptives make you feel, why don't you just stop screwing around? Oh, because, sex is a way for women to get lots of free stuff from, say, the age of whenever they start developing up until, whenever they start hitting the wall, so their early 30s, and even past that. I mean, let's be real, even into your 40s, you can still get some chump to pay your rent, pay your bills, pay for everything. I mean, even if you have to lower your standards temporarily, ladies, there's a lot of free stuff you get based on the fact that all you got to bring is a fucking warm, wet hole. I'm sorry, but that's all you got to bring. As we're with a guy, you actually have to bring something to the table. Not only do you have to be physically attractive, but you have to bring something. And if you don't have physical attractiveness, you definitely have to have the money. So, I mean, like, to me, this just sounds more like women being like, oh my God, it's going to limit my ability to have a free ride. Well, not really. You could just take multiple forms of contraceptive. You tell him to wear a rubber. You could use a female condom. I mean, pill, morning after pill, spermicide, multiple types of implants. I mean, there's no lack of ways that women can actually prevent having a child. As where with a guy, and this is where it comes down to the irony. Women are telling a lot of guys that you should care about this abortion issue. Well, ladies, you've never given two shits about men's rights when it comes to, like, their right to choose. What if you want to have the child, but he doesn't, and he doesn't want to have anything to do with raising that child financially? Doesn't want anything to do with financially. And he says, I want nothing to do with this. Can he just walk away? Can he just say, no, I'm not having this child? Like, women can. They can just say, I'm not having this child physically. I'm going to kill this baby. But as for a guy, you're being told to care about an issue when you've basically been denied that level of equality or any sort of rights the whole fucking time. From the very beginning, you have been denied rights. And so I'm looking at this situation and I'm like, yeah, I don't know. It's like, yeah, I do think that abortion should be an option. But it's hard for me to give a shit. It's like, oh, wow, equality. So equality's hard for you? Sucks to be you. So you're actually going to have to maybe, it's sad because you don't even, still, with all the birth control options, you don't even have to choose the right person. It's not like, oh, hey, now they have your genetic material, you could be totally fucked if this person decides to go crazy. I mean, how many times as a guy have you seen women do that move where they'll, they'll cook, clean, do everything until they get that ring or before they get pregnant? They get pregnant and then they turn into a fucking bitch. And it's just like, yeah, you didn't sign up for that shit. You didn't sign up for 18 years. The show model, the sales pitch is what most guys get. And then once, she's knocked up or has the kid or they're married, then he gets the real deal. And the real deal is usually a lot of shit. And then they wonder why a lot of guys are just, like, ducking out. Like, whether it's, going their own way or just, not getting married. Like, guys are just like, every time a guy gets a vasectomy and lives an awesome life, I don't know. It's like women can still get some, resources, some, here and there resources out of the guy, but they can't just completely fuck him over, like you see with divorce court, child custody cases, and all that crap. So, I mean, until I start seeing some equality in that respect, I don't know if I have two shits to give about whether women have the right to kill their children or not. Because I know if it was a guy trying to walk away, if a guy tried to give up his child for adoption, they would say he's a fucking monster. But a woman can literally kill their children, erase a human life, and nobody has shit to say about it. So, I don't know. Yeah, it's hard for me to give a shit. Take it easy.